Hi guys, okay. Welcome to another lecture discussion, whatever you guys are calling these in the series, where we're trying to understand where we're trying to understand Freud's interpretation of dream as an apparatus. Now, in the last one, I already established certain things. In this one, I'm going to be giving you guys a quote by Freud himself in the fourth edition that I'm talking about that he wrote. Which is really important for you guys to always remember and understand, because that quote by himself basically proves that all the theories that he came up with, for example, the theory about superego, the theory about survival, um, the analysis of dreams, unlocking the secrets of unconscious mind, all of those theories he himself, by the fourth German edition, had dismissed, because a lot of people by then had started accepting those theories as something that they could build upon with. So he was, of course, more connected with other professionals in research, um, librarians, stuff like that, scientists that he had been conducting experiments with. So by the fourth edition, he himself said that to write a history of our scientific knowledge of the dream problem is extremely difficult, because valuable through this knowledge may be, in certain respects, no real progress in a definite direction is as yet discernible. No real foundation of verified results has been hitherto been established on which future investigators might continue to build. Every new author approaches the same problems afresh and from the very beginning. If I were to enumerate such authors in chronological order, giving a survey of the opinions which each has held concerning the problems of the dream, I should be quite unable to draw a clear and complete picture of the present state of our knowledge on the subject. I have therefore preferred to base my method of treatment on themes rather than on authors, and in attempting the solution of each problem of the dream, I shall cite the material found in the literature of the subject. So by the fourth edition, he announced his piece of work, which is the interpretation of dreams, which today a lot of people tend to quote as a book of science, right? We've all heard a lot of people quote the interpretation of dreams as a book of science today. I remember I used to be really close to someone, and the interpretation of dreams is something that I had read really early on in my life. I think when I was 12 or 13. So some parts of it had just, been blurred out. But I remember when I was working with that person would often quote that, no, you see, this is happening because of this. This is your superego, this is that. And I would often think in that direction, until later when I revisited the interpretation of dreams, and I recalled that the thing is that the interpretation of dreams is not a scientific book. It's not a book written by a psychologist. Always remember that. When we try to look at things in terms of psychological analysis, that's also when we try to use it as an apparatus. That's the wrong way of using the interpretation of dreams as an apparatus. When you look at the interpretation of dreams or try to use it as an apparatus, use it as an apparatus to write something convincingly. Use it as an apparatus to frame research in a certain way. For example, there is a certain, when we talk about modern methods of research, right? There are several of them. For example, even when we're talking about citation, there are several ways to cite something in an essay. If you look at the interpretation of dreams, it does not use any of those modern methods of citation. It does not. When Freud is writing about something, he's like, Okay, so this is what the thing was, and this is where I read this. And sometimes he's not even saying this is where I read this, and he's like, this was it. So if you look at it that way versus how when today we present research papers, they're usually these specific methods of citation that we've been told that, okay, fine, quote sources like this in the end, or quote sources like this with the point made. And there's a certain specific way to recall those resources. Those methods are perhaps not working as well as the interpretation of dreams did in its time, because of the fact that because now we're talking about using it as an apparatus actually that can help us, right? So then you see, you talk with conviction, knowing that, okay, this is something that someone else has said, and that's what you build your argument on. But at the same time, it's important for Freud also to hold his value, right? If he had created something that then for the rest of his life people kept seeking from him, it became an important contribution to his life in terms of even, say, finances and stuff like that, right? Because educationists across the world wanted access to it. So then it is important that to be able to keep the value of it, you yourself, which he did, right? And that only increased the value of the interpretation of dreams. Today, we don't say that what Freud has said is wrong. A lot of people, as I mentioned, that they go on to claim his hypothesis like it's some kind of fact, which it is not, because he himself said that this is literature. I've built it upon literature, and this is literature. And this, I'm just talking about the 4th German edition. After that, he did do a few other German editions of the book. So that's why when we're talking about the writing style, you need to be open in certain ways to the part that when you're writing something, as humans, we need to remain human that way, right? Like, we need to remember that, okay, no, we're not God, so we're not proclaiming that. And that human to human connection that he was able to build then with interpretation of dreams, for example, that by the 4th edition he said, yes, I've said all of this, but no matter what we keep saying, there is no significant solution to it because of the fact that this is all literature. I just decided to, because I thought that we should move ahead to the method of dream interpretations which he has mentioned. But before that, I decided to give this long quote because I feel like this quote establishes a lot in place, even in terms of the task that I had, one of the tasks that I had given about how Freud convinced people. Because it's not just a citation style, right? It's not just putting of thoughts together. It's also remaining human during that process. And by remaining human, remaining really human, that, okay, fine, I've said all of this. This is all literature, okay, guys? So there is no real solution, because he knew that he was unable to find a solution to the dream problem. A lot of people today still suffer via the dream problem. We've all heard that. A lot of people can't go to sleep because of that properly. A lot of people have irregular sleep patterns because of that. Some of us sometimes see dreams, sometimes we don't see dreams at all. Some of us sometimes hold certain beliefs about those dreams. Some of us don't hold any beliefs about the dreams that we see at all. So it's so irregular that he was able to accept in his writing that I've created something, but it's not the solution. It's all literature. I've come up with theories that this is what a child wants, or this is what a child's needs are, stuff like that. But it's all said based upon what other people have said. So please don't consider this as some kind of a Bible. People still date. So when we talk about speaking with conviction today, especially in today's world where, we keep talking about standing up for yourself, all of that stuff. Conviction at times means being like, I said this and I'm right. No, I said this and I'm right. Or I did this and I'm right, but you got it wrong. Or I did this, but I'm right and you got it wrong. But conviction, if you look at Freud, then sometimes also comes from a place where you're like, I did this and I might be wrong because I've done what I felt like doing. You see how the entire narrative changes. That's about it for this video. If you like the video, don't forget to give me a thumbs up, guys, as well as subscribe to the channel. See you guys in another video soon. And in the next one, we're going to be talking about the methods of dream interpretation, which were established. But before we went into that, I think it was really important to understand what is the right way to use it as an apparatus. But again, when I say what is the right way to use it as an apparatus, I'm not saying that don't quote the theory of superego and stuff like that in your answers. That is one perspective that I shared that was shared by Freud himself. See you guys in another video.